There is a kind of hostility that never arrives with a warning. It does not slam the door. It does not raise its voice. It does not always insult you to your face. Sometimes, it smiles first. Sometimes, it congratulates you. Sometimes, it stands close enough to study your life, your habits, your timing, your tone, your discipline, while quietly hoping something in you breaks. That is what makes jealousy dangerous. Not because it is loud, but because it is often disguised as normal human connection. A friend who suddenly feels distant. A coworker who becomes strangely cold the moment you begin to rise. Someone who praises you in public, then questions your character in private. In a fake society, envy rarely introduces itself honestly. It wears manners. It wears charm. It wears concern. And if you are not paying attention, you will mistake hidden resentment for harmless behavior. That is why this matters. Because when someone is deeply jealous of you, the real danger is not only what they feel. It is how that feeling slowly leaks into their actions, into the way they speak to you, speak about you, compete with you, study you, dismiss you, and sometimes even sabotage you. In this video, we are going to uncover 11 signs that someone is extremely jealous of you. Not so you can become paranoid. Not so you can turn bitter. But so you can see clearly. Because once you understand the pattern, you stop personalizing what was never truly about you in the first place. And by the end, I want to show you something even more important than the signs themselves: why jealousy is not just a social problem, but a spiritual test. A test of whether you will become reactive like them, or remain composed, precise, and inwardly unshaken. Because in the end, envy reveals them. But your response reveals you. 1. They quietly enjoy your failures. One of the clearest signs of jealousy is this: your pain seems to comfort them. They may never say it directly. In fact, most jealous people are too careful for that. But watch closely what happens when you struggle. Watch their face when you lose momentum. Watch the strange calm that comes over them when something in your life goes wrong. You may notice a subtle satisfaction in their tone. A softness in their concern that does not feel like care, but relief. They might say, "I'm sorry that happened," but something in them seems lighter now, as if your fall has restored balance to their world. That is envy in one of its purest forms. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that he would meet jealous, arrogant, dishonest, and bitter people, not because the world was unfair, but because many people cannot distinguish what is truly good from what merely satisfies their wounded ego. A jealous person does not see your failure as tragedy. They see it as emotional compensation. Your setback makes their insecurity hurt less. And that is why you must never build your self-worth on the reactions of others. Some people only seem peaceful when they believe you are no longer ahead. Some people only relax when your light dims enough for them to feel visible again. That is not friendship. That is emotional dependence on your decline. The Stoic response is not outrage. It is clarity. When you notice someone becoming strangely comfortable in your hardship, do not beg for sincerity. Do not perform your pain louder so they are forced to reveal themselves. Just see it. Name it. And remember, anyone who feeds emotionally on your struggle is already living in an inner poverty you do not need to enter. 2. They imitate you, but never acknowledge you. Jealousy often watches before it attacks. It studies first. And one of its strangest habits is imitation without respect. A jealous person may start adopting your language, your ideas, your style, your standards, even your pace of life. They may begin moving like you, speaking like you, presenting themselves like you. But they will never admit where it came from. They will borrow your energy while pretending it was always theirs. At first, this can feel flattering. Then it becomes unsettling. Because the issue is not that they were inspired. Healthy people are inspired all the time. The issue is that their imitation is mixed with resentment. They want the effect of what you built, without honoring the source. And that usually reveals something deeper: they are not at peace with their own path. Seneca warned that most people waste life not because time is short, but because they live distracted, scattered, and trapped in comparison. That is what jealousy does. It pulls someone away from their own development and turns them into a quiet observer of yours. Instead of building themselves, they begin orbiting you. You see this in real life more than people admit. A person criticizes the way you carry yourself, then months later starts dressing the same way. They mock your discipline, then copy your routine. They dismiss your message, then repeat your language to gain the same effect with others. Not because they respect you. Because they cannot ignore what your consistency is exposing in them. Do not waste energy confronting every imitation. Let them borrow what they can. The real question is whether they have the inner life to carry it authentically. Most do not. Because what makes your presence powerful is not the surface. It is the conviction beneath it. And that cannot be copied by someone who is still divided against themselves. 3. They spread rumors about you. When jealousy cannot reach your character, it tries to reach your reputation. This is where envy becomes more calculated. A jealous person may begin planting doubt around your name. Not with obvious attacks at first, but with carefully chosen comments. A raised eyebrow. A half-truth. A story told with just enough distortion to create suspicion. They rarely want open conflict. What they want is erosion. They want people to look at you differently without ever being able to prove where the poison started. This is one of the oldest social weapons in existence. Because people who cannot rise through merit often try to lower the atmosphere around those who do. Epictetus gave a brutal kind of freedom here. If someone speaks badly of you, he said, do not rush to defend yourself as if your soul depends on their version of events. That advice feels difficult in a world obsessed with image, but it contains a deeper truth: not every lie deserves your emotional submission. In fake social environments, rumors work because people love drama more than discernment. A jealous person understands that. They know they do not need to destroy you completely. They only need to introduce enough confusion for others to hesitate around you. And yes, that hurts. It hurts when your name becomes a conversation in rooms you are not in. It hurts when people who smiled at you begin acting uncertain. It hurts when you realize not every battle is fought in daylight. But this is where character becomes a fortress. Not because rumors do no damage. They can. But because if your life is rooted in substance, lies eventually get tired. Falsehood needs maintenance. Integrity does not. One must constantly be managed. The other only has to remain consistent. Do not let envy pull you into frantic self-defense. Let your life speak longer than their whisper campaign. In time, most rumors expose the insecurity of the speaker more than the guilt of the target. 4. They minimize your achievements. A jealous person has a hard time letting your success remain real. So they reduce it. They call it luck, timing, favoritism, hype, privilege, a coincidence, anything but discipline, anything but merit, anything but the possibility that you actually earned what they are too uncomfortable to respect. This happens everywhere. In work, when someone shrugs at a promotion you bled for. In family, when people say, "Don't let it get to your head," the moment you finally start becoming something more than the version they were used to. Online, when strangers see years of effort and call it overnight. In friendships, when good news is met with silence, sarcasm, or an immediate shift back to themselves. Jealousy is often unable to say, "You did well." So it translates your success into something smaller, safer, and easier for their ego to survive. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that your power lies in your mind, not in outside events. Their opinion of your achievement is an outside event. The work you did to build it is not. So when someone tries to shrink what you have accomplished, do not enter the exhausting courtroom of explanation. You do not need to prove the weight of your effort to someone committed to misunderstanding it. Sometimes the more you explain your journey, the more jealous people resent it. Because every honest detail reminds them of what they abandoned in themselves. Your consistency becomes evidence against their excuses. Your discipline becomes a mirror. And mirrors are unbearable to those who built their identity on avoidance. Let them dismiss it. People who have never had the courage to build anything meaningful often become experts at diminishing what they did not create. That is not insight. That is self-protection disguised as commentary. 5. They become distant when your life improves. Not everyone can walk beside your growth. Some people liked you better when you were uncertain. Easier to advise. Easier to compare against. Easier to keep in a familiar place. But the moment you become more grounded, more disciplined, more self-respecting, more internally directed, something shifts in them. They start pulling away. Calls become shorter. Warmth becomes mechanical. Support becomes inconsistent. They do not celebrate your evolution. They retreat from it. And if you are not careful, you will blame yourself for their discomfort. Do not. Jealousy often creates distance because presence becomes painful. Every time they look at you, they are reminded of the effort growth requires. They are reminded that change was possible. That standards were possible. That maturity was possible. And that reminder can become unbearable for someone who wants the image of progress without the cost of transformation. Seneca advised us to keep company with those who make us better and whom we can help make better in return. That is the standard. Real connection has mutual elevation in it. It can handle your growth because it is not threatened by it. A jealous person, however, experiences your progress as loss. Not because you harmed them, but because your movement forward makes their stagnation harder to romanticize. So if someone grows cold as you grow clear, let the distance teach you something. Not every disappearance is abandonment. Sometimes it is revelation. Sometimes people do not leave because you changed for the worse. They leave because your growth removed the comfort of comparison. 6. They secretly turn life into a competition. Jealous people are rarely at peace around someone they cannot casually outshine. So they compete. Not openly. Not honestly. Quietly. Suddenly everything becomes a measure. Your work. Your relationships. Your appearance. Your confidence. Your habits. Your opportunities. Even your suffering. They compare constantly, often without saying a word. You may notice they become tense when you mention progress. You may feel that every conversation carries an invisible scoreboard. You may sense that they are not hearing your life, they are ranking themselves against it. This is exhausting to be around. Because competition without mutual respect creates a kind of social poison. You begin feeling watched, measured, subtly challenged, even in moments that should feel human and simple. Marcus Aurelius warned against wasting life speculating about what others are doing unless it serves a real mutual good. Jealous people do the opposite. They build entire inner narratives around your movement because they are no longer anchored in their own. And this happens more often than most people admit. In careers, where someone tracks your wins more than their responsibilities. In friendships, where a person cannot simply be happy for your peace because they need to know whether they are still doing better. In social circles, where someone copies your standard, then resents you for having set it. A stoic mind refuses this trap. Your life is not a race against unstable people. Your work is not invalidated because someone else turned it into a contest. Their rivalry does not require your participation. In fact, one of the strongest things you can do is refuse to notice every invitation into comparison. Because the person who is obsessed with beating you is already behind in the only way that matters, they no longer belong to themselves. 7. They quietly sabotage your efforts. Jealousy becomes truly dangerous when it moves from emotion into interference. This is where many people finally wake up. A jealous person may start delaying your opportunities, withholding useful information, creating confusion, questioning your credibility at the wrong time, or subtly weakening what you are trying to build. They may act supportive in front of you and obstructive behind you. They may smile while making your path heavier. This is no longer passive resentment. This is active distortion. And it can happen in brutal, ordinary ways. A coworker leaves out a detail that makes you look unprepared. A supposed friend discourages you right before an important move. Someone introduces doubt into a relationship that was doing fine without them. A person who claims to admire you becomes the very friction that slows your momentum. Epictetus taught that difficulties show us who we are. That becomes painfully real here. Because sabotage does two things at once: it reveals their character, and it tests yours. Will you become consumed with revenge? Will you spiral into paranoia? Will you let one bitter person turn you into a suspicious version of yourself? This is where inner authority matters. You are allowed to see clearly. You are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to remove access, correct misinformation, protect your work, and stop giving intimate proximity to people who have proven unclean in motive. Stoicism does not mean becoming naive. It means remaining internally governed while acting with precision. Do not confuse calm with passivity. A composed person can still close doors. A wise person can still protect what matters. If someone repeatedly sabotages your efforts, you do not owe them unlimited chances just because you understand their pain. Understanding envy is not the same as volunteering to be damaged by it. 8. They attack your values and principles. When jealous people cannot compete with your results, they often attack your standards. They mock your discipline. They question your motives. They belittle your convictions. They act as if your principles are arrogance, your boundaries are selfishness, your restraint is performance, your seriousness is insecurity. Why? Because values expose people. A person living carelessly often becomes irritated by someone living deliberately. A person who avoids accountability feels judged by someone who has built self-command. Even if you say nothing, the way you live becomes a statement. And people who are unsettled by that statement will try to make your principles look foolish. Seneca understood this well: what is good is not always popular, and what is popular is not always good. A jealous person may not admit that your discipline unsettles them, so instead they reframe it as something pretentious or unnecessary. It is easier for them to insult your standards than to rise to them. This is especially common in modern culture, where self-betrayal is often marketed as freedom. The moment you stop oversharing, stop chasing approval, stop participating in shallow games, and start becoming more deliberate, some people will not ask what changed. They will accuse you of changing too much. Let them. Not everyone is supposed to understand the life you are building. Some people are loyal only to the version of you that required less from them. When your values begin making weak environments uncomfortable, that is not always a sign to soften. Sometimes it is proof that your center is finally becoming real. 9. They become excessively nice in a way that feels false. Jealousy is not always cold. Sometimes it is overly warm. Sometimes the person who resents you most is the one praising you too much, too fast, too performatively. The compliments feel polished but empty. The support sounds correct, but not sincere. There is a sweetness to their behavior that feels almost rehearsed, as if they are trying to hide an emotion they cannot fully control. And often, they are. This is where envy becomes social theater. They flatter you, but study your reactions. They affirm you, but subtly gather information. They position themselves close, not from love, but from fascination mixed with unease. Their friendliness is not rest. It is performance management. Epictetus said that character is shown more by what a person does than by what they say. That matters here. Because insincere people often know exactly how to sound good. The real question is whether their behavior remains clean when attention is gone, when opportunity appears, when your back is turned, when your success becomes undeniable. Many people ignore this sign because they want harmony. They tell themselves they are imagining it. They dismiss their own intuition because nothing overt has happened yet. But that quiet discomfort you feel around false friendliness is often intelligence, not insecurity. Do not become cynical. Just become observant. Genuine people feel restful. Performative people feel slightly strategic, even when they are smiling. Learn the difference. It will save you time, energy, and unnecessary emotional exposure. 10. They try to weaken your relationships. One of the darkest forms of jealousy is when someone cannot reach you directly, so they try to affect the people around you. They introduce doubt. They distort meaning. They create subtle tension. They test loyalties. They position themselves as helpful while quietly destabilizing connection. Why? Because strong relationships protect people. They provide perspective, support, grounding, and belonging. A jealous person often envies that kind of stability, especially if they do not possess it within themselves. So instead of building healthy connection, they start interfering with yours. This can look incredibly ordinary on the surface. A comment framed as concern. A story retold with just enough spin. A strategic omission. A suggestion that plants distrust without taking ownership of it. These people rarely want the full truth out in the open. They prefer emotional smoke. Confusion is easier to weaponize than direct conflict. Seneca noted that those who envy others never find peace of mind. That is important. Because the person trying to weaken your relationships is not operating from abundance. They are operating from inner shortage. They do not know how to create trust, so they tamper with it. Protect your bonds. Not with drama. Not with public warfare. But with truth, consistency, and direct communication. Jealous people thrive in spaces where no one verifies anything. They feed on silence between others. So if someone is trying to create division, strengthen the quality of your connections instead of feeding the theater. A relationship rooted in mutual respect can survive a whisper. A weak one cannot. In both cases, the jealous eventually reveal themselves. 11. They are obsessed with comparing their life to yours. This may be the deepest sign of all. A jealous person cannot simply live their life. They must constantly measure it against yours. What you have. What you achieved. How fast you moved. How people respond to you. What seems easier for you. What seems unavailable to them. Their mind becomes a prison of comparison. And from that prison, nothing is ever enough. Even if they are doing well, they cannot enjoy it. Because jealousy destroys the ability to inhabit one's own life. It keeps a person staring sideways. It convinces them that worth is external, scarce, and always located in someone else's possession. That is why envy is so corrosive. It does not only poison relationships. It poisons perception. Epictetus said that wealth does not consist in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The jealous person lives in the opposite state. No matter what they gain, it is contaminated by the question of whether it compares favorably to what you have. They do not know peace because they do not know sufficiency. And this is where you must be especially careful not to join them. Do not explain your life to people committed to comparison. Do not shrink your blessings to protect unstable egos. Do not feel guilty for becoming more aligned, more peaceful, more powerful, more disciplined, more whole. Other people's inability to celebrate your path is not evidence that your path is wrong. It is evidence that some people would rather compare than become. Final reflection. Jealousy is rarely just jealousy. It is insecurity with a mask. It is admiration corrupted by ego. It is wounded identity looking for relief through comparison, imitation, minimization, sabotage, or silent hostility. And if you live with enough purpose, enough standards, enough inner clarity, you will encounter it. Not because you did something evil. Not because you invited conflict. But because your presence reminds some people of what they abandoned in themselves. That is the part many never tell you. Sometimes the reason someone resents you is not that you hurt them. It is that your discipline exposes their excuses. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your restraint exposes their impulsiveness. Your growth exposes the years they kept postponing their own. So yes, see the signs. Learn them well. Recognize the patterns early. Stop calling everything misunderstanding just because you are a decent person. Some people are genuinely struggling with envy, and pretending otherwise will only make you slower, softer, and easier to manipulate. But do not become bitter. That is the final trap. Because jealousy tests more than your social awareness. It tests your soul. It asks whether you will descend into the same ugliness you now recognize in others, or whether you will remain sovereign within yourself. Marcus Aurelius said the impediment to action advances action, what stands in the way becomes the way. In that sense, other people's envy can become part of your refinement. Their pettiness can train your restraint. Their dishonesty can sharpen your discernment. Their instability can force you to become more rooted, more private, more exact with your energy. So let them reveal themselves. And you, remain composed. Remain observant. Remain difficult to provoke. Remain loyal to your standards. Remain grounded in substance, not approval. Because the real victory was never getting everyone to like you. The real victory is becoming someone who no longer needs false acceptance to stay true to their path. If this spoke to something you have lived through, then you already know, the deepest battles are often the quietest ones. Subscribe to Silent Authority if you want more videos that cut through deception, expose hidden dynamics, and help you build the kind of inner authority that fake people cannot shake. And in the comments, tell me this. Which sign have you experienced most in real life, and when did you finally realize it was jealousy? Until next time, stay precise, stay guarded, and stay unshaken.